Hello world, Porto Dev here. Welcome to my review video of the OnePlus 7 Pro 2 months later edition. So I've had this phone for close to a month now, and I've been using it as my daily driver with my main SIM card in the phone every day. And I wanted to share my thoughts on this phone because I have a lot to say about the OnePlus 7 Pro. Now, the OnePlus 7 Pro comes with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 octa-core mobile processor and also different variants ranging from 6, 8, or 12 gigabytes of low-profile DDR4 RAM. There are two options to pick for internal storage, ranging from 128 to 256 gigabytes of UFS 3.0 storage. The OnePlus 7 Pro comes packed with many great features, such as the alert slider on the right side, allowing the user to switch between sound, vibrate, and silent modes. It comes with a 4,000 mAh warp charging capable battery, in-display fingerprint, dual stereo speakers. The OnePlus 7 Pro is a dual SIM phone. It weighs in at 206 grams and is running the latest version of OxygenOS based on Android 9 Pie. A triple camera array, including a 48 megapixel main lens, an 8 megapixel telephoto lens, a 16 megapixel ultra wide angle lens that is also capable of 4K video at 60 frames per second. As for the front-facing camera, it is a 16 megapixel camera capable of recording video at 1080p and 30 FPS. The screen comes in at 6.67 inches, a truly great display with a 1440p AMOLED Samsung panel at 90 Hz. So when it comes down to it on paper, the OnePlus 7 Pro really does look like a great overall package. Now I want to preface this video to specifically address OnePlus fans out there by letting you guys know I've purchased the OnePlus 7 Pro completely out of my own pocket, and I've owned just about every OnePlus phone since their company first launched. So I'm a pretty big OnePlus fan, and I've been following their company ever since the very beginning, early days of their company. Now, right out of the gate, I want to say this is actually a pretty easy smartphone to recommend as Android Smartphone of the Year for a lot of people to pick up. However, there are definitely a few downsides to this phone that potential buyers will definitely want to take into consideration. Now, what I can say that OnePlus got right with this phone was the speed. I've used recent smartphones of the past year or two, and I can confidently say that it is indeed true. OnePlus has made the fastest phone, has truly engineered and put together the fastest phone on the market. The true star of the OnePlus 7 Pro experience, apart from the speed, is definitely the 90 Hz refresh rate screen. If you've never had a chance to use a device with anything higher than 60 Hz, I can tell you, you are definitely missing out. The amount of fluidity that is observed by the human eye when the screen is higher than 60 Hz is just unparalleled. While it has a lesser maximum brightness when compared with the Galaxy S10 series phones, when it comes to vividness of the colors, it is definitely an A+ experience. So when it comes to the experience, software, interacting with the phone, customization of the user interface, the OnePlus 7 Pro nails it. Now, to contrast all of these amazing things about the OnePlus 7 Pro, it's time to talk about the camera. Now, I'm a person that when purchasing a new phone, the camera is the most important specification that I consider. Every year from OnePlus, they bring their new phone on stage, they bring out all of these super artistic type professional photographers on stage to talk about how much they love the OnePlus camera experience. Now, the OnePlus 7 Pro has a good camera. For many people, it'll be good enough for them. Basically, what I saw was that in most cases, the OnePlus 7 Pro came out with pretty good images, but when it came to dynamic range, details in the shadows, and overall contrast of the shot, it fell miles behind other flagships like the Galaxy S10. So I wanted to take us through a few sample pics that I took between the OnePlus 7 Pro and a few other phones that I had on hand. First up is the OnePlus 7 Pro and the Xiaomi Mi 9, and what we can see is drastically different color profiles here, which all comes down to personal preference, but one thing that can't be questioned in this shot is that absolutely a much higher level of detail is captured on the Xiaomi Mi 9. Now here's a shot I took on the wide-angle lens of the OnePlus 7 Pro, and what we're seeing is overall, it's definitely a usable shot, but there's definitely much to be desired in my opinion when taking a look at the colors in the sky, as well as details in the trees to the left where we have the reflection and some of the lens flare. But what we have here overall, in my opinion, is an acceptable shot. The OnePlus 7 Pro got the job done, but it's definitely not a picture that's going to win any photography awards. And here we have a wide-angle shot from the Galaxy S10, and the difference is just unbelievable. The colors are more vibrant, the sky is bluer, the grass is greener, the field of view is wider. This is a shot that definitely classifies as exceptional in my opinion. This is definitely a picture that I would be proud to share on social media. Here's another shot from the wide-angle lens on the OnePlus 7 Pro, and again, what we're seeing is an acceptable shot, gets the job done, but paying attention to the red circle, you can definitely see there's definitely a loss of detail when looking at those black squares. And here's the same shot replicated on the Galaxy S10, and what we're seeing is, again, a huge difference, an overall brighter shot, much better dynamic range, and you can see, paying attention to the zone inside of the red circle, the Galaxy S10 managed to capture the detail and texture of those black squares. Now, the front-facing camera on the OnePlus 7 Pro actually impressed me. I took several images with the front-facing 16-megapixel camera, absolutely great. Also, with video quality. Despite having optical and digital image stabilization, I noticed this weird type of glitch where when I was recording video, I would get vibrating, shaky video for the first few seconds before the actual image stabilization would kick in for smooth video recording. So overall, the OnePlus 7 Pro camera was good enough in most cases, but I had to put in a lot more effort to get a good shot compared with other flagship phones. OnePlus is all about specs and ticking off those popular checkboxes. So when you hear things like 48 megapixel camera, check, 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 it sounds like the best phone on the market. So out of the box, opening up the camera app, switching into auto mode, the OnePlus 7 Pro actually is locked to taking 12 megapixel images. Every single picture I took in auto mode was 12 megapixels. What gives, OnePlus? I have to switch to Pro mode and then enable a custom setting to turn on 48 megapixel shooting. And even after enabling the 48 megapixel mode in Pro mode, I quickly realized shots were just unusable. So my take on Pro mode in the camera app on the OnePlus 7 Pro is that it allows more configuration by the user, but you don't get HDR. Any pictures I tried to take in Pro mode without actually tweaking the settings on my own, in shots that had bright lights combined with shadows, just came out with blindingly white highlights and darkened black shadows, losing all detail. Basically unusable shots. So it makes sense in Pro mode, OnePlus considered it Pro mode and didn't implement as many of the auto-calibrating features from auto mode. But OnePlus, stop focusing on checkboxes and buzzwords to woo in your customers. Just straight up, give them what you're advertising. If you're saying this phone is 48 megapixels, then as a consumer, what I expect is that you should implement a 48 megapixel option in auto mode. So if users choose to, the phone can shoot 48 megapixel images and get the quality that they expect out of their smartphone from auto mode. Also, portrait image shots on this phone were hugely zoomed in compared with other phones out there. So as soon as you switch into portrait mode, you'll have to take several steps back from your subject in most cases. Battery life on the OnePlus 7 Pro was just phenomenal. On my Galaxy S10, the non-Plus edition, I was getting on average about 4 to 4.5 hours of screen on time per day. On the OnePlus 7 Pro, I averaged at least 6 hours of screen on time every single day. And that's with 90 Hz refresh rate enabled and locked 1440p display settings enabled at all times. So I can say the battery life on this phone is an A+. If you're taking this phone out on day trips, for vlogs, whatever you're doing, this phone is gonna last you throughout the entire day. And for my gamers out there, I put the OnePlus 7 Pro to the test playing several hours of games such as PUBG, Vainglory, Arena of Valor, and many other popular titles out there. I never noticed any issues with lag, slowdown, overheating. It was just an excellent phone for gaming. And as for the vibration motor on this phone, the OnePlus 7 Pro has some of the best haptics in the industry. It's not a very mainstream spec to list on paper, so a lot of manufacturers ignore it and cheap out. But the OnePlus 7 Pro gives an A-grade rating haptics engine on this phone. Now, OxygenOS is so good on the OnePlus 7 Pro, I would actually say I prefer OxygenOS over stock Android, which is just something that I never thought I would say about any software version out there from any manufacturer. So for that, great job, OnePlus. But there's something that I noticed on the OnePlus 7 Pro that I've never noticed on any OnePlus phone before. Preloaded on the system read-only memory, the OnePlus 7 Pro comes with the Netflix app preloaded out of the box, and you cannot uninstall it. So what it looks like is OnePlus started out as this company to disrupt industry standards, to bring cheap, affordable phones with great specifications and zero bloat. But it looks like now that OnePlus has gained some popularity, has an established fan base, all this philosophy that they started their company on is just slowly going down the toilet. Now, Netflix is a great app that I usually do install on every smartphone that I pick up, but You're taking away a choice from your customers, OnePlus. What's next? Is the OnePlus 8 going to have Facebook preloaded? Instagram preloaded? I can assure you, OnePlus, if you start preloading more apps on your phones, you're going to slowly chip away at your core fan base. And then some other company is going to swoop in and come in with those same philosophies that you founded your company on, and they're going to kick you off of the main stage, and you'll have nothing left but regret, Carl Pei. OnePlus has built in a notification system for them to send out customized alerts to their customers on a system level. Now, when I set up my OnePlus 7 Pro, I disabled every checkbox for the extra OnePlus experience features, such as transmitting diagnostic data, user experience programs, and I also disabled notifications from OnePlus. But still, somehow, I managed to receive 2 unwanted notifications from OnePlus about some worthless customer poll they wanted me to take part in. And then, even after double checking that the setting was disabled, then I received 2 other spam notifications that made headlines a couple weeks ago, which OnePlus quickly addressed and made a statement that it was an internal Android Q notification test gone awry. I'm not sure if I believe that. All I can say is that OnePlus, if you keep this up and keep slowly chipping away at the core philosophies of your company and taking certain choices away from your fan base, eventually you're going to start losing them. But OnePlus has truly worked on for years this complex formula that they've surely done customer feedback testing on to gauge what customers are willing and what they're not willing to accept when purchasing a new smartphone. But what that means is you'll find certain features missing from this phone that are very popular with other flagships. Now, the OnePlus 7 Pro supports proprietary OnePlus dash charging, which I can vouch for is faster than any charging I've used from any other manufacturer. Hands down, 20 minutes of charging and you're good to go for at least more than half your day, which is just great. But the OnePlus 7 Pro lacks wireless charging. As a Galaxy S10 user, I use wireless charging for my Galaxy S10, my Galaxy Watch, as well as my wireless earbuds. So as someone who's pretty deep into the wireless charging ecosystem, the exclusion of wireless charging was definitely a bit of a letdown. However, the battery life on this phone is so good that for the average user, it won't make that much of a difference. If I had to give an overall take on the OnePlus 7 Pro 2 months later post-launch, I would say it's a great phone. As long as you're okay with a good camera, just not a great camera, then everything else about this phone is just that good that I could promise you're not going to be disappointed. If you're someone like me, where the main camera on your smartphone in your pocket is what you rely on every day to take pictures of everything, and you want to get the best photos for those everlasting, memorable moments, then you will definitely want to take your time and consider another flagship. But when it comes down to it, OnePlus, when you're throwing around slogans back and forth to your fans such as flagship killer, never settle, and you throw on the Pro moniker at the end of this phone, you just have to bring your A game on every front. So I can only hope that with the next iteration of the Pro series from OnePlus, that they continue to step up their game. And if they get it right, and they give us an industry-leading camera that can compete with flagships from Samsung and Google, then hands down, reviewers everywhere would just wholeheartedly crown that phone from OnePlus as king of the smartphones for that year. So if all you care about is speed, power, specifications, and you're looking for a good gaming phone and a truly lag-free experience, this is probably the best Android experience that you can get on the market. So that wraps up my full 2 months later review of the OnePlus 7 Pro. I hope this review video helped you out to make your decision if you're considering buying the OnePlus 7 Pro or another alternative on the market. I would definitely say, good job, OnePlus. With the OnePlus 7 Pro, you did step up your game. You gave the consumers what they want. A truly great display with a 1440p AMOLED Samsung panel at 90 Hz and just the fastest experience that anyone can get. So thanks for watching. Please like this video if it helped you out. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. Take a look at the links in my video description down below. And I'll be placing links to my social media as well as the Del Porto Dev Discord server. I'm online every day and I can answer more of your questions there. And there's many great people on there also willing to help you out. So thanks again for watching. Del Porto Dev out.